Gemini, welcome to your end of July 2018 tarot update. Yeah, that's the ticket. It's Raina here, and this is a little grainy. This is night vision. I'm doing this on a Saturday night. What better way to spend my Saturday night than doing tarot readings? I wouldn't have it any other way. Okay, so I'm using the Wild Unknown Tarot deck, by the way, just to let you in on what cards these are, because they're kind of unusual. Pen and ink drawings, very interesting. I like them quite a bit. They're not all black and white. They do have some color ones, and they're very cool. So where is the eclipse at the end of the month going to fall in your house? What house is it going to fall in? Probably the 9th house, I would think. Yeah. So this is a lunar eclipse. So you may, like if you're going to some kind of university, you may just like decide to drop out just altogether. Maybe you know, something very dramatic where you were working on a doctorate and you just like said, see you later, alligator, and just walked out. Or the 9th house can be like trips, long distance. And this is during a Mercury retrograde. Actually, the Mercury retrograde occurs the day before this particular, well, no, a couple days before it. So that can be very interesting in terms of you coming into contact with people from your past. And that could possibly put, let's see, that's going to be, let me see what, I've got a lot of, speaking of Mercury retrograde, it was, actually, you are ruled by Mercury, so you might be more affected by all of this. The Mercury retrograde is on the 25th. The eclipse is on the 27th or the 28th, depending on where you live. So the Mercury retrograde is in Leo. Leo is your 3rd house of communication, the house that you rule. So you may have quite an interesting Mercury retrograde. But it's the lunar eclipse is happening after Mercury goes retrograde. So if you had some kind of plans to travel, that they may just change. Or perhaps you're ending a trip, and there's all sorts of possibilities. It could even be a real sense of, I don't know, revelation about some spiritual matter. It really could be. Or your spiritual path. With the 9th house, it's more organized than with the 12th house, for instance. Okay, let's get into these cards. As I said, I did pick a few retrograde cards. I mean, retrograde, reversed cards. And that is... maybe that is because of the retrograde, but the reason I wanted to tell you this is because I don't do that much. And so maybe this is kind of feeling into those energies. So the heart of the matter is represented by the 10 of Swords. And this is an interesting, like right through the eyes, one of the swords. Bam, bam, right through the eyes. So this is one of those cards that I just get a kick out of because it's so like brutal. But the 10 of Swords, if most of you are aware, is a card of hitting bottom. But before you say, oh my God, that's so terrible, no. If there's something in your life that has been bothering you, it may come to an end now. The number 10 is a number of completion. So that can certainly be where it's like all you have to look forward to is up from here. So it really, to me, is a card of hope. I used to fear this card, and I used to fear picking it for other people because I didn't want to discourage anyone. And now I realize, no, actually, this is a great thing, because I think most of us have an area in our life where we're experiencing some kind of a challenge at all times. And maybe there are some times in life that are more dramatic than others, but there's probably always going to be one area of your life where you have an issue that you haven't been able to resolve. Maybe it's dealing with a friendship that has gone south, or it could be, you know, problems with anything. I mean, it can run the gamut, but things might come to a head, you know, when we talk about these lunar eclipses and these full moons. It's like kind of the purging effect of the full moon detox, and that can be even with problems. That the full moons can be the time, or lunar eclipses, where there is a lot of secrets coming out. And that's another thing that people might say, oh, that's terrible. But no, think about it. If somebody was keeping a secret from you, wouldn't you want to know about it? And so the Ten of Swords can be, finally, it's like somebody shoving something in your face, and you're finally forced to accept the fact that, yeah, I did get betrayed. Maybe I brought up a friendship, okay? And in that particular scenario, if you were to break it off with a friend, you might have given them the benefit of the doubt numerous times, and then finally it's the last straw. And so it's sad on one level, but on another level, it really clears the decks. So that's how I look at it. At the foundation of this reading, we have the Hermit card, which is connected to Virgo. And by the way, the Ten of Swords situation could refer to somebody who is an air sign. You are an air sign, and so is Libra, and so is Aquarius. Now, you may meet a Virgo person, or maybe you know this person right now. Definitely for earth signs, you would have an affinity with Virgo because you're both ruled by Mercury. So you have a meeting of the minds. And so you may have met this new person, and all of a sudden you're willing to look at a dysfunctional relationship in a straightforward way because you no longer have the same attachment to it, because you have found somebody maybe who is more compatible with you. But in terms of whether or not it's something that can last, it's not a question of that right now. What we're talking about is the contrast between the person that you've met and the person that you're with already. And sometimes it takes meeting somebody new to see how good it can be. Even if it's something that is not a sustainable relationship for whatever reason. The other person may be just in it for fun, and they have no intention of settling down or anything like that. And maybe that it can't work out, but it's always possible that at the very least it can provide you with something to compare your relationship with. Because then you can no longer ignore some of the glaring problems in that relationship. The Hermit is also about seeking inner wisdom and maybe being a little bit less like you typically are, Gemini, as a social butterfly, and being more introspective, and maybe not like seeking everybody's opinion on a matter related to your life, but simply seeking your own counsel, keeping your own counsel. And you're doing that because you know that it's not about other people's experiences. It's not about their life. It's about your life. And you may be tempted to kind of see how other people feel about your situation, but you realize that for whatever reason, this time around, it might not be that smart of an idea. And just even just looking at things from a spiritual perspective, I would say too. What crosses you is represented by the Judgment card. It's funny, I seem to have drawn a lot of the black and white cards. There are actually colored, this is one, but I mean more brightly colored cards. The Judgment card in the challenge position, in some cases, because the Judgment card can connect to karma and the planet Pluto, you may not be connecting the dots. This is a card of rebirth. And if you remain stuck in the weeds about your situation, Gemini, maybe getting too abstract in your mind, in your head, like a Gemini person can do, you may totally ignore some of the important aspects of this situation, and you may not see them for what they are. And the Judgment card in terms of rebirth is you may still linger in this state of like what happened to you. With the Ten of Swords, you're being asked to really acknowledge betrayal, what somebody else did to you, not to explain it away, not to minimize it, whatever those things are, but to really look at it so that you can move on with your life. And that's what rebirth is about having been in the trenches, what do you want to say, the being at the lowest level and rising up again, rising from the ashes, they say. And you can't do that if you say, well, there's not that many, I don't think that there's that much of a fire, there's no real ashes. I'm good. I'm good right now. You have to see that you need to shed an old skin. And that might be it too, that there are some things that are holding you back, that are keeping you from, making that transition into a new phase in your life. Let's see what card this is. So this is the Six of Cups in reverse. The higher message is the Six of Cups in reverse. I was actually going to say this, what this card represents, but I thought, no, Geminis aren't stuck in the past. But you know what? I changed my mind. This could be that you are too stuck in the past. The spiritual message is going to be the non-tangible, like, take on this situation. So you may be like, and it can be even just distortion of a situation. So an example would be, you're in a job where you got betrayed by somebody. Maybe it was your boss, maybe it was some coworkers. And you stay in that job because A, you're fear-based in terms of being afraid that there's nothing else out there for you. Even though you feel like you don't even want to be around these people, you don't trust them, and you feel hurt that they betrayed your trust more than anything. But you keep thinking about when you first started working there, how happy you were. Maybe there were certain people that were working there that no longer are there. And you're kind of like living in some ideal that doesn't really exist. And with the Six of Cups, the danger in the reversed position is that you are not progressing, that you are kind of stuck in that place where you are still, what's this, not idealizing, but kind of like glamorizing the past. I'm looking for another word. I wish that digital cameras had pause buttons. I think they do in some higher end models, not sure, but that would be such a great thing. But yeah, so you may be in some kind of a rut where you are being too nostalgic about the situation and therefore not leaving it. And this could be a long-term marriage that we're talking about here. It could be anything. And because Cancer is a sign next to you, the Six of Cups is connected to Cancer. So you could easily have personal planets in Cancer. The practical advice is represented by the Mother of Pentacles, which is the Queen of Pentacles. I would say for a lot of you, it's understanding that you have more than enough to sustain yourself in your home. Maybe you have money saved. Maybe with the Queen of Pentacles, this is associated with home. Maybe you have a really nice home that you don't really need to live in, because if you're having marital problems, maybe you can sell the home and downsize, and with the proceeds you'll be able to have money on hand to start a new life. But the other thing about the Mother of Pentacles, Queen of Pentacles, is that if this is a work-related situation, you may decide, you know, this is a great time for me to get pregnant. I was going to say get knocked up, but that's pretty rude, isn't it? That this is a wonderful time to do that, because I'm not getting anywhere on this job. Mother, you know, it's funny. I was going to say queens represent mothers, and then I saw, oh yeah, they use mother in this deck, the term mother. So you don't even have to say that. But this is going to be like someone who is very comfortable in their domestic life. And maybe it's even retirement time for some people, and you've just kind of prolonged it. And now this is the final straw, the Ten of Swords. You've tolerated their nonsense, and you just say, you know, I think it's time. Or time to leave the job at the very least. What is coming in is represented by the Four of Pentacles in reverse. So I would say be careful about any kind of get rich quick scheme, or any kind of like offer, especially during the Mercury retrograde in the last 2 weeks of, well, I'm sorry, the last week of July and the first couple weeks in August. Be careful, because you may be tempted to try to gain money quickly, and that could work against you. Also, keep tabs on your finances, because in the upright position, the Four of Pentacles is about sound money management. In the reversed position, you could be careless about your money, and that could work against you if you're trying to break free from an employer that you are not that fond of anymore. The outcome is I'm just going to hold it upright even though it's reversed. Mother of Wands, and this was in the reverse position. And in the upright position, this card connects to, well, they say Sagittarius, which is your opposite sign. I would also say Leo is a strong contender. Any fire energy, because Wands connects to fire. But the other fire is Aries. So be careful about your own tendencies, that you're not kind of losing it. If this is the workplace situation, and even if you're planning on leaving in the interim, that you're getting very emotional about this. Even though fire energy is not emotional like a water sign person. It can get very heated, and you may feel like you have been disrespected. Don't get into any kind of diva behaviors or aggressive behaviors. Sometimes fire gets very aggressive and it could work against you. Be aware of the tendency that you have to kind of go out with a bang. This could be your boss, so if you have a female boss, watch out for this person. She is going to be a terror. She may feel like if you give your resignation, she may be the kind of person who really tries to make your life miserable. Even if you just have like a 2-week notice, she could really try to pack in a bunch of things for those 2 weeks to make you feel like a piece of garbage. It's funny, I'm thinking back to when I felt forced to resign from a position that I held, and the person that was my superior happened to be an Aries, female. So this would be right alongside, along that side. And if you've given your resignation and that's why this supervisor is so upset, don't allow yourself to get sucked into any drama, because this person may try to mess with you in some way to try to keep you from having like a smooth departure from this company. The Ten of Swords is a perfect example of this. And, of breaking ties and just allowing things to bottom out. And she might try to keep the flame stoked. Don't buy into that. She may be a narcissist. I've been talking about narcissists recently, and it's amazing. A lot of people feel that they're the victim of narcissists. And the thing that's very maddening about these people is, A, they may have some qualities that you find desirable, but also B, you can't imagine how someone can treat others like that and feel good about themselves. And of course, deep down within themselves, they don't really feel good about themselves, but they're putting on such a false front that they start to believe in it. And that's the problem also. So, they say a woman scorned. This could be a woman scorned. And she can get pretty aggressive. So, forewarned is forearmed. If there's some woman in your life, especially if she's a boss, if she's the mother of your partner's child or your partner's ex, well, that would be the same thing, but just next, I'm thinking in terms of the queen aspect, the mother aspect, so that they could also share a child. That don't get in the fray. She may want, more than anything, to suck you into a drama. And you don't have to participate. You're trying to clear the air and kind of move on with your life. So just keep your eyes on the prize, is all I can say. Okay, Gemini, that's what I have for you. If you would like a personal reading, I do have love readings, which are very much about your astrological makeup. I do a tarot spread at the end, but it's really focused on your astrology. And if you have another person in your life, their makeup as well, and the dynamic that might be going on if you're having some kind of a challenge. Just check me out. I'm at rainamoonAstrology.com, and the link is below to my online store. Have a wonderful rest of July. Take care. Bye.